it's Gwen from My Spiritual Butterfly, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the 4 stages of consciousness. The 4 stages of consciousness is really an idea that was presented to us by a spiritual teacher called Michael Beckwith. You may have heard of him. He is an American guy, he's a spiritual leader who has a community in LA, in California, called Agape. And he came up with this concept in the 80s. It's been around for a long time, but very charismatic guy. Definitely check him out. But it's a really interesting way to kind of understand where we are in terms of our mindset, in terms of our beliefs, in terms of our power at various stages of our life. The 4 stages are to me consciousness, by me consciousness, as me consciousness, and through me consciousness. So I'll be sort of taking you through the 4 stages so you can sort of assess where you are. But it's not a question of, you know, you're at one stage and you're always at that stage and then you have to move to the next. It's just that sometimes when we're going through certain things, we may kind of cycle through these stages basically. And depending on what area of our life we're looking at, we also might be in a different stage compared to, you know, where we are. If we're looking at romance and relationships, might be different to where we are consciously in terms of money and things like that. So it's really nice to kind of understand this concept, these 4 stages, and just kind of assess where you are and make a decision as to whether you're okay where you are, if you want to kind of elevate yourself a little bit. So the first stage is to me consciousness. And this is all about kind of really blaming others for where you are, feeling as though you have no power to control your reality, to change things, to move out of something. So you blame other people, you blame your parents, you blame the economy, you blame everything and anything you can blame, even astrology, you might even blame that, you know, Mercury retrograde or whatever it might be. And you by doing this and consistently doing this, you do give away your own power. You end up in this cycle of blaming, complaining. Your self-talk will be very kind of lackful. You know, you don't have enough, you can't do this. There'll be a lot of self-pity and that kind of thing. So it's kind of a little bit of victim consciousness where you do feel like you have no power to change anything in your life. So yeah, it's not a great place to be, but we all can get to that point at some point. Yeah. So, but it's more about how long you stay there for. Some people can stay in that mode, that sort of to me consciousness, literally all their lives. That's it, you know. But for others, sometimes the pain of where you are, this is a quote by Michael Beckwith, the pain of where you are pushes you, you know, until your vision pulls you. So sometimes we get to that point where we are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're fed up, we give up, we surrender, we're just really fed up of it. And we want something new, we want to do something different. So that's kind of like the first stage. Sort of in terms of how you feel when you're in this stage, you might feel, obviously you will feel powerless, you'll feel unhappy, you might always expect the worst, always be worrying, always be drained, feel very alone and very separate from everybody. So it's a really kind of low vibrational state of consciousness to be in. And there's no real sort of awakening there. So it's important to start to move out of that to the next stage, you know? And the next stage is by me consciousness, and that's something that we'll be talking about in the next video. If this resonates with you, then do comment below. Let me know what you think. You know, if you feel you're at this stage. But as I said, it's not a question of your whole life is in to me consciousness. You might have areas of your life where that's where you are, and others where you're a bit more elevated. So yeah, in the next video, we'll explore by me consciousness, just so you can kind of understand what's involved there, and how you feel you're in that stage, and then how you can elevate to the next stage of through me consciousness, and eventually to as me consciousness. So with this second stage, this is by me consciousness. So this is you taking your power back now. It may be the pain, as I said, has pushed you so much that you're like, you know what, I've got to do something about this. I'm not tolerating this. Or you just simply make a choice that now you want things to be different. So this is very much about you doing things, taking action, kind of moving to what you want. So it could be you're in a job that you really don't like. And so, you know, you've been there for years or months, but I mean, you may just leave, but I'd rather you didn't do that. But instead you decide that you're going to make a decision to start looking for another job. You get your CV sorted, you start seeing what's out there, you put the word out that you're looking for something else, and hopefully, you know, you get another job out of that. But you start taking action, you start taking your power back. Same thing could happen with a relationship. With both those scenarios though, I would rather you spend time kind of focusing on what you want to move to. So you're going towards something as opposed to running away from something awful, because bottom line is you take yourself with you. So if you haven't cleaned up the energy around your old job or your old relationship, you can easily find yourself in exactly the same circumstances, different place, different company, different man, woman, whatever it might be, different partner, but the same stuff keeps coming up. So it's really important to make sure that you take time to, you know, just create what you want, write down what you want. So, yeah, By Me consciousness is very much about you. This is where you could use the law of attraction. So you're writing things down, you're affirming, you're visualizing, maybe you're meditating, but you're starting to take control and realize that you can do some things to change your world, your reality in certain areas of your life. So it is very empowering. You kind of understand that you can start to control your thoughts, your speech, and making them more empowering and making them so they serve you more as opposed to kind of keeping you down and keeping you low. You know, you're just making better choices about your life to change your life. And what will happen is you'll start to manifest change. You'll start to see things changing, and that will encourage you to keep doing that, to keep affirming what you want as opposed to talking about what you don't want and staying in that space, you know? So it's very, very important that you sort of do that. So that's kind of like the second stage of consciousness. And in terms of moving to the third stage is Through Me consciousness, and that is something we'll talk about in the next video. But how you move to that stage is when you've been doing a lot of the manifestation. So you are, you know, you're affirming, you're writing down, you're scripting, you're doing all these things, and things are just happening for you. Things are changing and shifting. And so what happens is you start to trust a little more, and this kind of moves you into the next stage, which is Through Me consciousness. So in the next video, I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. And yeah, we can just sort of see how that goes and where you are there. If you feel you're in By Me consciousness, then do let me know. Just put that in comments. If you feel you're still stuck in To Me and you're still not quite sure how to move from To Me to By Me, remember I said that it's not necessarily a thing where every area of your life is like that, is in one stage or another. Different areas can be in different stages, but it'd be great to hear in the comments where you think you are. And if you feel you're a little bit stuck maybe in To Me consciousness and need some help to sort of shift out of that, then let me know, and I can sort of share some tips and tools with you as well. But in the meantime, I'll see you in the next video where we talk a bit more about Through Me consciousness. Hi everyone, it's Gwen from My Spiritual Butterfly. Welcome to the third video where I'm taking you through the stages, or the 4 stages of consciousness. The first stage was To Me consciousness, which was very much you not having any power, blaming everything outside yourself for where you are now, and feeling like there's nothing you could do about it. The second stage is By Me consciousness. Yeah, so that's where you're taking your power back, you're finally taking control of the situation, and you're making different choices for yourself, yeah? And as I said, that's very much where the law of attraction sort of sits too. And then stage 3 is Through Me consciousness. So you've been doing a lot of manifesting, maybe just through doing your scripting and journaling and affirming and visualizing, and things are starting to happen for you to the point where you feel so kind of relaxed about things. You start to know that the universe is working for you. You start to trust that things are going to happen, that you just need to choose, and then you kind of, you know, surrender, let go, and more things happen. So this brings you into through me consciousness. There's not so much forcing and doing and fixing, which I might have mentioned is a more masculine energy. This is a more energy, sort of feminine energy, more feminine space, where you're open to receive, you're just kind of yielding, and you're finding that things are just flowing to you and coming to you. You're radiating out what you want naturally. You're connecting to the energies of the things you want, but more importantly, you're moving more into a joyful state. You're understanding that you just need to enjoy life a little bit more. You just need to kind of be a bit easy with life, have fun, feel the gratitude, and things are just falling in your lap. They're just coming to you. So this is you kind of working with the universe. The universe is working through you, and you're kind of trusting that that's happening. So yeah, you've let go of those kind of controlling behaviors, because it does get you to where you are. So it's still good to do all of that stuff with the affirming, but you're literally just choosing and then feeling and radiating and trusting. So you understand that what you're seeking is seeking you. You may have heard that quote as well, and it is actually true. That's what's happening. You're kind of in the right sort of frequencies for your potential to emerge. You're able to, when you're meditating, you're able to kind of get downloads and kind of take action at the right time. So you're not always doing. There are moments when you're just enjoying life, but you're inspired to action. You know, it's not this forced motivation, it's slightly different. But yeah, you're generally enjoying what you do. You're loving life. Things are just kind of working out. You're in the zone, you're in flow, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's more about that surrender, and understanding that things will just work out and come to you, but also appreciating the contrast a little bit too. You're understanding that through the contrast, when things aren't going well, that it's a growth opportunity. You're learning, you're kind of expanding, the universe is also expanding. So rather than kind of feeling like, oh, you know, this is awful, why is this happening, and moving back down to me consciousness, you're embracing it a little bit more. You're understanding there's some end game to all of this. There's some reason why you're going through what you're going through. So you still keep doing what you're doing, and trying to sort of stay in that mode. So yeah, that's kind of through me consciousness, if that makes sense. Let me know in the comments if it doesn't make sense, or if you've got any questions around it. In terms of the next stage is as me consciousness. And this is where you've done not enough, but you've got to the point where there is just like a light bulb that goes off, which is an enlightened moment, if that makes sense. And we'll talk about that again in the next video. But as I said before, constant reminder, it isn't that you get to one stage and you stay there forever. You know, we will cycle through, but it's always good just to make an assessment. Just stop and say, do you know what, where am I? Where's my mindset right now? Okay, what can I do to kind of change this now? I've had enough of being at this stage. What can I do to change this? But normally you find you naturally flow from by me consciousness, where you're doing a lot of stuff, you're taking your power back. As I said, once you've seen things manifest for you and seen how the law of attraction is just working for you, things are changing for you, you start to relax a bit more, you start to enjoy that space, and then you find that even more starts opening up for you, and that's when you're kind of in through me consciousness. It's just working out. This is when you're kind of walking in the park or walking by the beach, and you just feel like it's this kind of real nice sort of connection with everything. You just feel like everything is flowing the way it should. Yeah, it's those kind of moments are like through me conscious moments for sure. But yeah, we'll be talking about as me consciousness in the next video, so I look forward to seeing you then. Hi everyone, this is Gwen from My Spiritual Butterfly. So this is the video for the final stage of the 4 stages of consciousness. And today we're going to be looking at as me consciousness. So just to recap, stage 1 was to me consciousness, which is this kind of almost like victim mentality. Everything is happening to me. I can't do anything about it. It's that person, it's the economy, it's my mom, it's you know, my star sign, whatever it might be, but you're blaming something outside of yourself for the reality that you're experiencing right now, and you're not taking that power back in order to change it. You believe you can't change it. You believe it's out of your hands. So that's the first stage, which was to me consciousness. Then you have by me consciousness. So when you start to realize, do you know what, I can do something about this. If I change my mindset, my thoughts, my behaviors, I start maybe meditating, start looking at the law of attraction and what I want to attract into my life, maybe writing things down. You kind of move into this kind of doing mode, taking your power back and realizing that you can affect your reality. So that is the second stage, which is by me consciousness. The third stage is through me consciousness. So this is where you've been in the realm of by me for a little bit, and you're starting to see things just happening for you automatically. You're starting to trust that they will happen if you just keep yourself in that right vibration, right energy. You realize that you don't have to do so much. It's actually a lot easier than you thought if you just trust and you let go, you've put it out there, and you just live your life and you connect more with things like gratitude and love and fun, and connect to that side of yourself. You find that things just start to flow. The universe starts working with you, and you're just able to choose and kind of be a little bit more relaxed about things. You let go of that control. So that's kind of through me consciousness, which was the third stage. And then the final stage, which we're going to look at now, is the as me consciousness. And this is like ultimate enlightenment. This is where you start to understand that you're connected to everything. You have compassion for everything and everyone. It's like we have these moments where we might be walking in the park, in nature, and we just feel really connected with everything. The grass underneath our feet, the birds in the trees, the breeze brushing against our cheek as we're walking by. We can feel the sun on our skin. We look at the colors of the sky, at the trees around us, the flowers. We just feel this connection at a really deep level. That's as me consciousness. This is where you're no longer separate from everything and everyone. You're no longer separate from the universe. You really understand and tap into the thought that you are the universe. The universe is flowing through every cell in your body. Your veins just coursing through. This is where we start to understand that connection. So at an atomic level, we're all one. We're all made of molecules, made of atoms, made of subatomic particles, protons, neutrons, electrons. I talk about it a lot. We are made of the stuff of the universe. So we're not different from anything or anyone else. And it's only maybe because our lives have turned out differently that we're not like maybe a beggar on the street, or you know something else that someone else is going through some kind of difficulty. So we just start to have that compassion and understand, you know, obviously how lucky we are to be where we are now, but how close we could be to being that person too. And so it brings that compassion through. But yeah, it's a really lovely space to be, and it isn't, you know, the thought that, yeah, you must always be in this enlightened state, and if not, it just doesn't work that way. Dalai Lama talks about sometimes going into anger, but it's just how long you stay there. So we may find ourselves dropping back down to me and that kind of victim. That person did this to me, I hate them. But it's how long we stay there for, in that kind of refractory state. We need to kind of notice when this is happening, be compassionate with ourselves in those moments, sit with that, but then start to think about how we can raise our vibration up. What lesson can we learn from that in order to sort of move up the scale a little bit? Most people will predominantly be in, and even people in this group, I think, would be in by me consciousness, where you're working on yourself. You know, you've got your rituals in the morning, you know, you're meditating, you're praying, you're writing down your goals, you're doing your gratitude list, you're scripting, you're doing all these wonderful things. But every now and again, you'll have moments of this kind of through me and even as me, where it's just elevated. And that's all we're kind of looking for. You're not expected to stay there all the time. We do cycle through, as I've said before in the other videos, we cycle through these 4 sort of stages, and it's perfectly normal. But it's just nice now and again to look at where you are, particularly if you want things to change. You have to start doing something a little bit different. But it's just good to notice when you hit those moments of flow state, where it's just, everything is just dropping into place just beautifully for you. And it's nice to have more of those, right? But then at the same time, when you're in as me consciousness, you embrace those challenges. As I said, you see them as a learning experience. You don't make them wrong. It's just part of life. And even that is as me consciousness, because you know there's something to gain from it. There's growth, there's expansion from it. The universe is always expanding, and you are always expanding, and you're feeding through, learning from the universe and feeding back to it. It's learning from your unique individual experience. So it's all of it is valid, all of it is right, if that makes sense. Wayne Dyer, the late Wayne Dyer, always used to say, I am that, I am that. The great I am. It's a really powerful statement to make as you're walking around. So you look at things and you say, I am that. You look at, you know, the man walking in front of you, I am that. The rubbish on the floor, I am that. That tree, I am that. You start to realize that you're in everything. You know, you're a big part of what's going on here, but it's everything is kind of flowing, you know, just through you. You are it. It's not even through you, you are it, you know. So it's a beautiful place to be. As I said, we only get moments of it now and again, but even so, we need to recognize that we're there and appreciate that. But yeah, so that was the 4 stages of consciousness. Just sort of understanding where you are is key, but just being easy with yourself, no matter where you are. You know, it's sort of understanding and having that consciousness to say, right, okay, I'm here. I really don't want to be here, so therefore I'm ready to do something different. But if you're in the stages 2, 3, 4, it's good. It's still a nice place to be. You just don't want to be in that kind of lower stage of consciousness too long, because we start to attract more of the same, as we know, the law of attraction. Yeah, so that was the final stage. I hope you enjoyed the series. But yeah, if you have any comments on that, do put some comments below. Reach out if you have any questions, let me know as well. I'll be checking in, I'll answer those questions. But yeah, until next time, namaste. Thank you so much. Bye.